Hello there guys, I am currently at Hatchie National Wildlife Refuge in Western Tennessee, and we're going to be going out here and seeing what kind of birds we can find. We got like a lake looking thing right there, so probably some water birds will be here. But yeah, it's also going to be a hot one today. It's like in the low 90s, so maybe should have gotten here a bit earlier than like noon, but you know, we live and we learn, and yeah, we'll just have to deal with it. But I bet we'll still see lots of cool stuff, so let's go. So, of course, the first thing I did was check out the lake. It was really cool. It had all these lily pads and cypress trees, as well as these majestic cormorants sunning themselves on this log. I love cormorants. They're always really cool to see, especially when they're trying to cool off in the heat and they're doing all the gular flapping. Like, I just think that looks so cool how fast they can do it. But the cormorants were kind of the only things on the lake, so my attention was very quickly redirected to the purple martin houses. These were my lifer purple martins. I've never seen purple martins before. They're not very common out in the West, but they're really, really pretty swallows. I mean, they just have that gorgeous sheen of that purplish black color to them. One thing that is interesting about purple martins is in the eastern US at least, they nest almost exclusively in man-made structures like this. They rarely, if ever, use natural cavities, meaning that putting up houses like this is very important for the martin population of the eastern US. There were a few other birds hanging out as well, such as this house sparrow and brown-headed cowbird, both pest species, but for different reasons. And here's a species that sometimes gets pested on an eastern bluebird. There were a few of these guys flying around. There were also some fledglings like this little guy, so they clearly had recently raised a family. Okay guys, I'm gonna wrap it up at this spot. Looks like this road goes around a little bit. So I think I'm gonna take that, see where it goes, see if it leads to some other places. And after that, I'm gonna hit the trails. Maybe there'll be some more birds there. There's not a ton out here right now. It's probably just because it's the afternoon, you know, and that's how it is. But yeah, let me drive to the next spot and then we'll see where we go from there. Found all the Canada geese. I was hearing them earlier, but I wasn't too sure where they were. It turns out they were back in here. It's about 25 of them or so, it seems like. Some more over there. Then on my way out, I made note of a couple of the heron species around, such as this great egret. And this tiny little green heron. He's so small. I love green herons. They're just little tiny guys. Then after driving away for a little bit, I wasn't able to find any trails, but I did find this kind of open spot with like an old cornfield, and I decided to walk around it to see if I could see any birds that were hanging out there. Look at these grasshoppers. They're all like black and red. Like Darth Maul. Oh, here's a better look at one. Look at him. These things are crazy looking. Look at that guy. After admiring those cool looking grasshoppers, I then made my way around and was greeted by quite a few cool southern residents. And those residents were Mississippi kites. I took note of several of them flying around. You can tell because of the shape of their silhouette and the large white patches they have on their secondary feathers. But I was not prepared for just how many of them there were. There are so many Mississippi kites here. There's 4 in this tree. And then I don't know if I'll get them all on camera. There's one, but there's 7 that have been flying around, which are not these 4. I was being sure about that. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 11 Mississippi kites here. I don't know why there's so many right here, but I guess, I don't know, this is where they hang out or something. Maybe this is normal. I mean, I don't see Mississippi kites that much, but I'm not used to seeing raptors in such like large groups. Like this is very interesting to me. Maybe they're migrating, I don't know. And that, right there, my friends, is why you watch where you're walking. Because that is a snake. I think it might be a cottonmouth, because it's kind of got a wider head, but I'm not a snake expert or a cottonmouth expert identifier. But for our purposes here, we're going to assume it is. So I'm going to give it its space and walk away. And that, my friends, is how you deal with a snake in the middle of the path. But then after that spicy little encounter, I was able to meet a few more of the residents of this clearing before heading out. Oh my gosh, and we got a family of hooded mergansers hanging out in this little puddle in the cornfield. What are you guys doing out here? You're diving ducks. Well, this turned out to be a nice little spot. Seeing the kites was really, really cool. As well as having, you know, that snake encounter, you know, a little spicy. The egrets and the mergansers were also really cool. And that was basically the trip. I saw a couple birds that were hanging out around my car, and then I saw a couple more back at the lake on my way out. But I had a really good time birding here. I feel like if I was here in the winter, it'd be a lot better for waterfowl. It seemed like this is a big waterfowl wintering spot, but there aren't really a lot here this time of year in the summer. So if you're ever in the area in the winter, I'd recommend this if you want to see a bunch of waterfowl. But that wraps up my first birding expedition here in Tennessee, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.